lack of understanding.
Right.
Your faith hasn't failed at all. Your faith can't fail.
Right.
How can God's faith fail?
Okay.
Now you can fail to operate in faith.
Right. That's it.
You can fail to operate in faith. I mean, I could get this new power saw that's brand new, give it to Pastor Jim, and he comes back the next day and says, this thing doesn't, this saw's faulty. I'll say, no, it's not. It works perfectly. Oh, no, I tried using it, it didn't work. And then I said, well, let me see, well, I want to watch you use it. And he doesn't even use it correctly. I'll say, no, there's nothing wrong with the power saw. You don't know how to use it. See, there's nothing wrong with your faith, my brother and sister. And those of you watching on the internet, there's nothing wrong with your faith. You need to learn how to use that faith. Yeah. Learn how to use the faith. You have a measure, the measure of the God kind of faith. Now, somebody bring up the point. Go over to Luke chapter 22 with me. Someone might bring up the point of what Jesus told Peter. They'll say, well, hold it now, Brother Dwayne. Jesus told Peter that he prayed that his faith would not fail. Remember that? Prayed that his faith would not fail. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, you got to realize, you got to start with the premise as a believer that the faith we have is just like God. It's a measure of God's faith and it can't fail. So you're not going to find any scripture that proves that God's faith fails, right? And the only kind we have is the God kind. So there's no scripture you're going to find that proves that your faith can actually fail. So if you think you're reading a scripture that sounds like it does, then you don't understand the scripture correctly. So you need to say, God, obviously I don't understand this, right? Because I know the faith you've given me is the measure of your faith and it can't fail. Now over in Luke chapter 22, look at verses 31 and 32. And Jesus says, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But this is King James Bible now, but I have prayed for thee that thy faith fail not. Now, the way the King James translated, it sounds like Jesus saying your faith can fail. I pray that your faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Strengthen thy brethren. So we know in Peter's case, we know he denied Jesus, but he got back on track, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when Jesus said, I pray that your faith fail not, first of all, he's talking about that I pray that, Peter, that you'll stay in fellowship with God, that you won't do like Judas did. See, Judas lost it. As far as I know, he didn't make it to heaven. But Peter did. He got back on track. Let me read that to you out of a couple other translations right there. The Message Bible says, I pray for you in particular that you do not give in or give out. Don't give up. Mm-hmm.